I live in Leeds right now, and yeah, I buy properties all over England. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down how you can buy properties remotely anywhere in the UK from the comfort of your own home. Over the last couple of years, this has become more and more commonplace, obviously, from what we've been going through. And I don't just mean from an investment standpoint. I'm in Leeds and I've seen multi-million-pound houses selling without doing a single viewing, based on just a video and some pictures going around. So it is becoming a more normalized and standardized way to build up and buy multiple properties in your investment portfolio. But you do need to balance out the financial risk of approaching it in this way. Before getting into that, why would you end up buying a property outside of your area in the first place? Well, actually, there's multiple reasons. The first of which is you might live in a location that is just way too expensive. For example, if you've got £100,000, good on you, first of all. But if you live in central London, that's going to buy you what? A shed? Literally, the other day, somebody tried to sell me, not that it's a bad thing, a car park space in central London for £240,000. Whereas you go to some parts of the northeast, you can buy it for £100,000, the whole of the northeast, right? But there's different prices in different areas, and just £100,000 in my location in Leeds can buy you a minimum of 2 properties to add to your investment strategy. Number 2 is people feel safer buying remotely. Remember, this isn't just about distance and remotely being hundreds of miles away. I mean, with the last couple of years, being close to each other maybe isn't the thing that you're thinking about. And actually being socially distanced and buying a property through virtual tours and things like that makes it a lot safer. Number 3, it gives you access to better investment areas. There's an 18-year property cycle, which I'll do a separate video on that. But the 18-year property cycle is dictated by macro and micro economic factors, and the macro factors dictate what areas are best. So right now, one of the best investment areas in the UK, in my opinion, is West and South Yorkshire. Now, I am biased, but honestly, I live in Leeds now. If you'd asked me 5 years ago, I'd be saying Manchester is the hotspot. But the point is, it doesn't matter. If you can learn to do this remotely, you can invest anywhere in the UK. Number 4 is you might be watching this from a different country. My top 5 locations for investors outside of London is Tokyo, the UAE, South Africa, Hong Kong, and Singapore, and all of them have built sizable property portfolios without seeing a single one. Finally, number 5, and I like this one, it forces you to be passive in your approach to property investment. I'm a big believer in my active income, where I'm exchanging my time for money. I'm hustling. I push hard. I'll be on the phones, closing, doing marketing, creating videos like this, and I believe in exchanging time for money. When it comes to placing my money, whether it's a loan out to somebody or buying another purchase for my property investments, then I want that to be as passive and hands-free as possible. And one way to force yourself to do that is make sure you are hundreds of miles away from your property investment. So how do you do it? The first thing you need to do is search on your major property portals, such as Rightmove, Zoopla, On the Market, and ideally you're doing some direct-to-vendor marketing as well. And what you want to find is, first of all, your locations on there, and you can create a map, which is going to be really important because each day you're going to get sent a new batch of properties in there. You set your price ranges, you find your tenant type, and you understand your criteria before you even start searching. Once you've set this up, this should be no more than an hour a day of your time with properties sent through, where you should be quickly deleting the ones that don't matter and shortlisting the potential opportunities to move forward with. Once you've done this, you'll move on to the second stage, which I like to put them into a spreadsheet. And now that I've got my criteria, which is based on the return on capital employed, I've got videos on that separately that you can go and watch. I like to narrow it down to every investment opportunity that is within 2% return on capital employed of my criteria. For example, mine and my investors' criteria is a minimum return on my cash of 8%. So anything that is 6% and above based on list price, I'm going to shortlist in my spreadsheet. Moving on to number 3, and this is organizing a virtual viewing of some kind. Now, it's important to have a realistic evaluation of the property so you can in some ways assess the refurbishment cost. Now, if it's online with a modern estate agent, a lot of them will now be conducting virtual viewings because it's going to make their life a lot easier and it's become more standardized. But if not, you can engage with a company called Viewber, that is Viewber, a play on Uber, but for viewings, obviously. And you can actually get a 360 Ricoh tour, which is a camera that spins around like that, and essentially gives you a 3D picture of the entire property. It costs around £200, so it is an expense, so make sure you're confident about moving forward with the property, and that is how you will get a realistic assessment of the interior condition of the property. What you're then going to do is submit your offer subject to viewing. Now, this actually used to be something that a lot of agents were against, but it's more and more standard now because of what's been happening over the last couple of years. So what you're going to do is you're going to call up the agent, say, hey, I've looked at the photos, I've priced up as best as I can based on this. I actually live remotely. I don't want to come up for no reason. I need to view it. Obviously, I'm sure you want me to too. However, this is where my price is going to be. With that in mind, is it still worth coming to the viewing, and is that likely to be an offer that gets accepted? Yes or no? It's a great way to not waste your time or the agent's time or the vendor's time. Now, I've done a separate video on this. You can go back, or maybe we could put a link below on how to price up a property effectively. But what you're going to do is you're going to send a local builder around now to get a more accurate price up. Now, this can be done by building a great relationship, building up your power team, which again, I've done videos on. If you are taking the mick a little bit and sending a builder around to loads, you might have to pay their petrol, maybe pay 50 quid, 100 quid to them, so you're not wasting them time to price up. What I usually say to my builders, if you go and price up and it's a fair price, I will give you first refusal to do the works for us, get paid on the property when we go through with the investment. Once that's back, you can have a really good idea of the prices and the numbers, the tenant types and the rental, and now's when you put in your final offer. Now, as you get more experience on this, you shouldn't have to change your prices at all, because you should be able to price up fairly effectively, and really you're only taking account of things that you can't see, but you've already put a contingency in for this, so cracks and damp, for example. Once they've accepted that and you've got it instructed and it's going through the legal process, if you're purchasing cash, you're going to get a RIC survey on the property just to make sure nothing's wrong. If you're buying mortgage, the mortgage company will send out their own surveyor, and in the meantime, you're going to want to find a reputable lettings agent. The best place to do this genuinely is jump on Facebook, go into the many Facebook groups there are, property groups on Facebook, and ask people that are local of their experience, and ask how many properties they've got with them and how many years they've been working. Personally, I wouldn't want to work with anyone that's not had direct experience for at least a couple of years, but once you've got a reputable letting agent, you're now ready to complete on the property and hand it over to the builder, who will then talk to the letting agent and get it refurbished and let out on your behalf. When the builder's going through this process, I strongly recommend you get two things in place. Number one is a schedule of works. This will pace out the refurbishment and where they're meant to be hitting in terms of the quality. And then the app that I would use alongside this is Site Audit Pro. So say it takes 8 weeks, they're going to go through an 8-week cycle, and at the end of each week, they will take photos, upload it to Site Audit Pro, and you'll be able to measure exactly where they're at compared to where they're meant to be, and giving feedback based on that. And then what you have is you would retain about 5% of that builder's pay until the letting agent has gone round with a snagging list to make sure everything's done to standard, ready for your tenant to move in. Now, that is a huge end-to-end process. I do get it. It does take time. And as you get better and you're more experienced in this, this will be expedited. You'll be more professional in your approach, and it will be a lot more speedy. Now, when you go through this end-to-end process, it's important to do your research on the people and work hard enough at the beginning. And as I like to say, work hard enough to not have to work hard. And eventually you will be in a place where you don't need to work as hard for your money, and instead you're getting your money working hard for you. So some of you might have watched this video and thinking, whoa, that is a lot of effort. And it's true, it does take a lot of time to do this. But some of you might just think, well, why can't I get somebody else to do this for you? And actually, you might not know this, that is exactly what my company does. So I build my own portfolio, but I also help investors just like you to scale a successful portfolio of property investments without you doing any of the work. So if you've got 100,000 or more and you want help so you don't have to work hard for your money and instead you can get your money working hard for you, then there's going to be a link in the description. I'm going to put APG link, and then the link. Make sure to click on that and register your details and you will have a call with my senior investment consultant, Toyin, who will go through and better understand how we can help you. Hey, if you're going to do this yourself, hopefully this has added massive value to you. It would help tremendously if you lightly destroy the like button. And of course, if you did get value, let me know what you thought of it in the comments. If you're new to the channel and you want more property investment tips, hints and tricks, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And of course, I will see you in the next video.